Have you ever met someone who seemed to be angry at the world? Let me tell you about Rahim. For years, Rahim was that guy. He had a temper so fierce, he was convinced everyone else was the problem. If someone cut him off in traffic, he'd rage for hours. If a co-worker made a simple mistake, he'd see it as a personal attack. He didn't realize it, but by letting every little thing get to him, he was handing over the keys to his own happiness to complete strangers. His peace of mind was constantly being disturbed, and he felt powerless, always blaming the world for his misery. One day, completely fed up, Rahim heard about a wise old monk who lived in the mountains, known for his incredible sense of calm. Desperate for a change, Rahim made the long journey to see him. He found the monk sitting peacefully by a stream. Rahim poured out his frustrations, explaining how the world was full of fools and irritations that constantly provoked him. The monk listened patiently, his eyes full of understanding. When Rahim finished, the monk picked up a hot coal from a nearby fire with a pair of tongs. He held it up and asked, "If you wanted to get rid of this, would you hold it tighter and blame the coal for burning you, or would you simply drop it?" Rahim was confused, but the monk continued, "Anger," he said, "is like this hot coal. You think you're hurting others with it, but the one you burn the most is yourself." He explained that anger clouds our judgment, making it impossible to see things clearly. It's a fire that consumes the person who holds it. Rahim had spent his whole life clutching that burning coal, wondering why his hands were always in pain. The monk's simple words struck him like a lightning bolt. He had never thought of it that way before. He was the one holding onto the anger, not the other way around. The monk then shared a powerful secret. He explained the difference between reacting and responding. Reacting, he said, is what animals do. It's impulsive, driven by pure emotion. A dog barks when startled. A cat hisses when threatened. When you yell at a driver who cuts you off, you are reacting. He then pointed to the stream. But responding, he continued, is like this water. It doesn't fight the rocks in its path. It flows around them calmly and deliberately. Responding is a choice. It requires you to pause, take a breath, and choose a path of wisdom instead of impulse. The monk gave Rahim a simple but profound piece of advice. When someone or something tries to provoke you, just step aside. He didn't mean physically moving away. He meant mentally and emotionally detaching from the situation, instead of letting the provocation hit him. Rahim was to imagine himself stepping aside and letting it pass by, like a bullfighter avoiding a charging bull. This wasn't about weakness. It was about refusing to engage in a fight that only he would lose. It was about protecting his own inner peace. Returning to his village, Rahim started to practice. It wasn't easy. The first time someone was rude to him, his blood began to boil, just like before. But then he remembered the monk's words. Step aside. He took a deep breath, pictured the rude comment flying past him, and chose not to react. It was incredibly difficult, but for the first time, he felt a flicker of control. He didn't yell. He didn't let it ruin his day. He just let it go. Day after day, he practiced. With every small victory, his confidence grew. He realized his anger didn't come from other people. It came from his own mind. He was the source of his own suffering, which also meant he could be the source of his own peace. Over time, Rahim transformed. The angry, bitter man was replaced by a calm, thoughtful one. People in his village noticed the change. They were no longer afraid of him. Instead, they were drawn to his newfound tranquility. Rahim had learned one of life's most important lessons. You can not control what the world throws at you, but you have absolute control over how you choose to respond. True strength isn't about being the loudest or the angriest person in the room. It's the quiet, unshakable power that comes from mastering your own reactions. Rahim finally understood that by letting go of the hot coal of anger, he hadn't lost anything. He had gained everything. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to our channel. Learn motivated stories for more content that inspires and empowers. See you in the next video.